Hello everyone, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today I'm returning to Ultimate General Civil War, and we're looking at I think it's episode 26 now of my Ultimate General campaign, playing through as the Confederates. We're into the winter campaign of 1862, which means we're into the Battle of Fredericksburg. That'll be the next major engagement that we fight. Although we're not quite there yet. We've got one more battle here to go. We've got the Battle of Prairie Grove to fight before we get to the grand Battle of Fredericksburg. We've won the first minor battle in the campaign, which was the Battle of Corinth, which you saw in your last video, and that resulted in the enemy army being having a 10% reduced morale when we get to the Battle of Fredericksburg. In addition to that, our victory at Antietam ensured the enemy army would be 7% weaker than it otherwise would be, and if we win the Battle of Prairie Grove, the enemy army will be smaller in size, I think. It's just telling me that the enemy army is bigger in size if we lose Prairie Grove. So that's the next fight we have to have. So I guess that's going to be our next mission here. In the meantime, just sort of a refresher on where we're at. We have 3 corps in the Army under us. We have 2 lieutenant generals commanding those corps, Lieutenant General Robert E. Lee and Lieutenant General Albert Sidney Johnston. The first corps is commanded by a major general, that being us, T.H. Butcher. Every single brigade in the Army now has at least 1841 Mississippi rifles. The vast majority of guns are either 1855 Harper's Ferry or Lee Enfields. We have a couple of outfits with Lorenz rifles and a few 1855 Springfields. We don't have enough in the armory to outquip any new troops with these high-quality weapons, higher than they already have. I think the next step will be probably phasing out the Mississippi rifles, although I am keeping a little bit of a surplus here, if only because I'm expecting at some point to either increase our brigade size up to 2,500 men or to increase our army size to include a 4th Corps. One or the other, and when we do that, we'll need some excess weapons so we can easily get those troops up to speed. With that being said, I think the 3 corps are more than adequate for now. I have also started building up a surplus of artillery. The 10-pound ordnance and the Napoleons we've already captured. But once I get 24 10-pound Parrott rifles, I can go ahead and replace some of our existing less accurate, lower quality weapons. And also, likewise, once I get 10-pound Tredigers or 24-pound howitzers in sufficient numbers, I can start outfitting some of our batteries with some harder-hitting, better guns. I used some prestige to get some Tredigers and howitzers. I also bought some from the armory, so that this is the most we'll have until after Fredericksburg, but I'm hoping I'll be able to get at least 8 more howitzers so I can swap... which battery is it? So I can swap out the 24 12-pound howitzers in the 3rd Division. But we'll see how it is. With that being said, for those of you watching this, because this is taken from a live stream here, for those of you watching this during the stream, just a happy Thanksgiving. I know it's still Thanksgiving where we are. It's getting a little bit later in the day, but not quite into Black Friday. So hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving if you're in the United States with your family and your friends, and we're able to spend it with those you care about the most. We're going to be jumping into the Battle of Prairie Grove. Dude, you've been writing papers on the Eastern Front in World War II. Those, I'd be interested in reading them if you can share them. The Second World War on the Eastern Front, I don't know as much about as I'd like to know. So any recommendations are always good. Okay, Prairie Grove, your army is ordered to probe the rich farmlands and milder climate of Arkansas for a suitable winter camp. Well, yeah, right, because the Army of Northern Virginia is going to go make camp in Arkansas. Scouts are reporting Yankee troops coming from the north and east to attack your vanguard at Borden's wheat field near Prairie Grove. All right, well, here we go. I did see that blue Spartan. Hunley is not going to be replaced because I don't know why. Just because, I guess. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our commander in charge because I want to get us to a lieutenant general ranking, even if they are some of our better brigades. We're going to go ahead and jump in here. We're going to be on the defensive, so my hope is that makes it easier to hold our position. All right, and I do apologize, guys, if I yawn at all. It's been a really long day. I'm just kicking back, relaxing and kind of spending a little bit of time with all of you. But that does mean it's possible a yawn or two may slip in between sips of whiskey. Your vanguard is attacked at the Borden wheat field. There is no time to withdraw, so you must prepare to defend your position. Okay. Looks like we can put all of our troops forward here. I'm going to replace one of our infantry brigades, 1855 Brigade. We're going to go ahead and replace them with some artillery. We're on the defensive. I really like the idea of some Napoleons. Those are going to be really good in close quarters. Additionally, actually, so would the... let's see here. Let's go ahead and pull the Mississippi Brigade as well. So, in fact, would some howitzers. So I'm going to try and go heavy on the artillery. We'll have 3 artillery batteries and only 9 infantry brigades. But that's what we're going to go into battle with. So go ahead and pause here. Looks like we've got some defensive positions we can take. Although, if we're really being... This is a weird... Like, why would we ever take this fence fortification unless the enemy was coming from the west? That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So, like, these fortifications don't make any sense. They're defending it for an attack coming against the other direction. I suppose the forts over here, or the fences over here on the left, those make some sense. So we'll go ahead and send some troops over there. Meanwhile, I guess we're just going to have to... I hate the idea of deploying in the open. Those guys can kind of deploy in the farms, so those guys can get a little bit of cover, hopefully, in the wooded terrain. And we'll see how this all shapes out. I guess we'll go ahead and have one guy... We'll have a couple of units go in these fence lines, just in case they try and circle around and destroy us. But we'll see how this all works out. Get the artillery up there really quick, too. We have some... we have 4 batteries of artillery? Jeez. Shows how much attention I was paying. Let's go ahead and get them up there on the double quick, just because it does claim that we're being attacked without any warning, or kind of rapidly. So I suppose there's a chance we'll get caught before we can get into position. The Orphan Brigade's kind of sitting back here for the time being in reserve. I think there's going to be some enemy cavalry that show up over here that might make these forts a little bit useful. Blue Spartan, it's more than just holding on to the ball too long. 1, he holds on to the ball too long. 2, he scrambles away from the pocket. He needs to step into his throws, and he has a really bad tendency of just kind of basically stepping away from oncoming traffic. He should step forward into the pocket to create some more throwing lanes, buy himself some time, and let the rushers move past him. But he doesn't do that. Alright, so they're into position. Again, I'm not really sure where the main enemy effort's going to come. I guess we can throw some skirmishers off. This brigade. These guys, these skirmishers can kind of go forward into this wood. We've got some enemy horsemen coming in on the right. We've got our artillery deploying here in the center of our lines. And have these Enfields point north this way. So they'll kind of guard these troops' flank and skirmish in these woods. Ideally, I think it probably make more sense to put the line, extend the line out east this way. Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, I would not be a good NFL quarterback. Alright, so there's a lot of enemy horsemen all kind of ranging around. I don't know if they're scouting our position or just riding around it. In any event, the bulk of the enemy infantry does seem to be in the front here. They got about 20 or 4,700. No, actually over 6,000 infantry up here. Horsemen and skirmishers are kind of probing our left, but not a serious threat, I don't think. These 500 horsemen in our rear could end up being a challenge. I guess we'll see. Another infantry brigade coming from this way. I don't know if this is any more cover, but let's go ahead and have you fall back into this tiny little grove of woods, and we'll see how this all works out. What are these skirmishers doing? Inflicting some. What about the Texas Brigade? They're inflicting quite a bit of damage here on Judson. I don't know if it's Judson Kilpatrick's brigade, but this cavalry brigade, which keeps coming up to them. Got an infantry brigade approaching them. Meanwhile, we've got some artillery deployed up here. I think we're going to need artillery in the gaps here, so we're going to go ahead and move these guys. They're Napoleons. That way. Move these Napoleons north. Alright, here we go. So the enemy's approaching over open ground. Granted, our troops are largely also in open ground. Nice. A single volley from Amon just drove the enemy's skirmishers back, at any case. We've got plenty of guns here, I think, to hold off these 3 brigades. We've only got 1 infantry brigade, so they could certainly charge us, but we've got quite a bit, actually 2 infantry brigades. Amon can turn. The enemy troops over here aren't close enough yet. He can provide support to the infield brigade if necessary, which has a little bit of cover, but I'm thinking these enemy troops are coming across the open, and should be more exposed. It does look like we're getting the better of them in these volleys, these initial volleys. They're going to try and advance Amon while these other troops are waiting here. Maybe we can bring him into range with his Harper's Ferries to fire into the flank of Orm. An interesting name. Yep, there you go. So we've got 2 brigades firing into Orm's brigade. We've got 3 batteries of artillery, all firing at borderline point-blank range. If they do charge the infields, they're going to have 2 batteries for sure firing canister fire. We'll see how the first Napoleon battery does, shooting at them. They're actually going to shoot. Nope, they let them retreat till they were out of canister range. Just what I didn't want to do. Alright, let's see. Let's pull one of these brigades out of line. I think the Orphan Brigade's going to come forward and provide support up here. Then I'm going to move Amon forward. I think the Lorenz Brigade can cover the gap that I'm pulling the Orphan Brigade out of. And then it'll allow me to try and flank the enemy a bit more. These brigades are all doing well. I'm hoping it won't be costly to rebuild the First Corps after this battle. Guess we'll see. The Enfield Brigade will be expensive, probably, to rebuild, but the rest of the Corps seems to be doing okay. All we have to do is hold. There is no draw condition, apparently, in this fight. What do the Orphans have? They've got Harper's Ferries, just like Amon. Go ahead and bring Amon out a little bit into the open, mainly to fire and die. Maybe he can, well, die is actually being driven back. Alright, well. Skirmishers in the Lorenz Brigade are now being engaged. Charging going on somewhere. Texas Brigade's getting hit a little bit on their flank. I'm going to bring them out and threaten the flank of this infantry brigade here, Clark's Brigade, a bit. Bring them forward to try and threaten the flank while they engage the Texas Brigade a little bit on, almost on an oblique angle. Oh, that was dumb. Oh, you're just gonna expose your flank, though. That's a really bad decision, I think. Yeah. 2 volleys, 1 front, 1 flank. And there goes Bertram. Amon's a little bit exposed up here. I think we're gonna fall him back. But that was a nice little exchange for our boys. And then the Orphan Brigade, perfectly positioned to provide a little bit of support. We've pulled those troops off the Enfield Brigade. They're no longer a threat there. Meanwhile, Arnold will advance here against these guys. We continue to fire at the Texas Brigade. And now get another 2,000 men firing into them at point-blank range with some Enfields. We're actually going to go ahead and advance the Texas Brigade as well into line. alongside Arnold's brigade. That was a wasted volley almost. Gonna take some pretty heavy casualties from that volley from Clark. But I'm hoping I can end Clark as a threat pretty darn quick. You can see there he's already being driven back. Go ahead and pull Arnold back into the trenches. Enemy horsemen, Stewart's brigade, still kind of... I don't know if they're threatening, but they're present, if you will. Alright. Lorenz, go rejoin your brigade. Judson's cavalry just died. That was a charge of the light brigade. You saw his brigade charge forward, got hit by about 3,700 rifled muskets, and promptly disintegrated and routed from the field. Alright. I don't know if I'm going to send him all the way out there, but we'll see. Certainly Clark's been driven back. And that's the point. Really, we only have two really heavily engaged brigades. The infield and, well, not even Amon. Amon must have displayed some, I think his skirmishers are the one over here. Yeah, so really just the infield brigade. Okay, we destroyed that skirmisher brigade. The nice thing is the enemy routes relatively easily because their morale is so low, and part of that's because of the victories that we've been winning lately, or at least that's my assumption. Why would you ever do that, infield brigade? It's clear we don't need help against Stewart. Alright, Bertram outnumbered by more than 1,000 muskets here. We're going to send Arnold and Texans across the river here. They could possibly sneak some troops in this way. Let's do this. Let's send some skirmishers up in that wood line. You guys stay in your position here. We're going to send Arnold and the Texas Brigade across the river here to try and take this observation post. Alright, who's charging? Alright, we got a Salomon coming in, charging the Lorenz Brigade. About 1-to-1. That's not the kind of engagement we want to see. Bring Wraith up from the rear. Use Stonewall to dispatch some skirmishers to guard that fortified line. Just a little bit of a weak little line there to keep them honest. Try and drive off these artillery batteries here. 1,200 men in them. That's a lot of artillerists. A lot of canister fire. Here the Yankees in the one line are routed. Yankees in the other line are routed. Weir's brigade's retreating. Lorenz Brigade, fire into their rears. They go. Fire into the rear. There you go. Hit them hard. Die getting hit by 2 volleys there. Clark being driven back. We now have the observation post here. We're going to send these guys up and try and knock out these artillery batteries one at a time. Two brigades firing volleys into this artillery. Hopefully they don't take too heavy a canister shot here. You can see the blue is all kind of off the line here, so I'm somewhat comfortable. Oh, nice. They didn't get... So we broke them before they got any canister off, before back off got any canister off. Now we'll advance on Smith. Now that they're retreating, they won't fire here instantly. Now we're going to try and drive Smith back. And we're driving Smith back. So we will keep the pressure up here now. hopefully destroying both of these brigades. Meanwhile, you can see here we've got about 3 enemy brigades coming against us. 2 of our own brigades and decent ground. Emon's really effective. 444 casualties against almost 1,000 inflicted. I don't know why these skirmishers are up here, but I do not want them up there. I want them back in this line. Got 1 brigade in reserve, if we need it. Get into these houses here. You know, the Texas Brigade will keep advancing. The enemy artillery's lost about 1/3 of its strength in each of these batteries. Arnold set himself up in some good cover in these houses. The enemy, of course, is in good cover as well, in some heavy woods. They're not losing nearly what they would otherwise. That's going to give their artillery some time to recover, too. Go ahead and... Can we advance the Texas Brigade up this way? Orphans are hitting Weir hard. Now Solomon's coming in. They're just not coordinating their attacks well. I'm going to send the Texas Brigade up kind of behind Clark's line. Hopefully in an effort to get a good volley in on Smith and maybe push his artillery back. There you go. Did the same. Now they can fire into Clark's flank, although they're taking canister from back off. They're in very good cover. Okay, they've driven Clark back. Now I gotta drive back off back. Ironic. Trying to drive back off back. Back off, back off. That's dumb. Alright. So overall, I think things are going well. Battle's about to end. We're going to win. I don't think I'm going to use this time to mop up all the remains. I might stick around for a little bit. The enemy's stuck in the open here in the river, taking excessive casualties. They also move incredibly slowly when they're in the river. The Backoff's battery's just disintegrating under pressure. I want to go ahead and push Smith back here, hopefully before he gets around to canister off on us. Clark's brigade is just going to go ahead and drown, or I'll die in the river. Alright, Smith's routed, so now I think we can just push these 2 batteries of artillery up against the edge of the map until they're dead. I'm hoping Arnold can get enough volleys into Clark. Oh, it doesn't let me wipe them from the map. I wonder if that's something that came with the recent patch where you can't keep playing some of these minor battles to conclusion. At the end of the day, 1,000 or 1,100 casualties on our end, no guns destroyed, 13 artillerists. The enemy lost over 5,000 men, 23 guns, 600 artillerists, 700 cavalry. When it comes to goods, we captured some guns we're never going to touch, those 1842 Springfields, hopefully. Captured some 1855 Sharps. Ooh, captured 3 enemy 20-pound Parrots. That's very nice indeed. Very powerful cannon. And rescued some of our own Harper's Ferries and Enfield. So these Yankee units were poorly armed outside the artillery, which was reasonable. So there you go. We earned the Meritorious Service Medal and won a nice little fancy victory there for us. $75,000 more, 3,800 more recruits, 1 career point. Career point goes to economy, which is now almost all maxed out as we continue to follow that strategy. And most of these units here, I think, gained reasonable experience without too hefty in the way of casualties here. So, oh, really? We don't have enough Enfields to replace their losses. Unless we do this. But I don't really want to do that. Do we have any other weapons that we captured enough of? Got 1,900 Harper's Ferries, which we don't have any that we can buy. Alright. Let's see where we are here. Oh, these guys have Enfields too. Yes, darn it. Gosh darn it. We may have to use that reputation. We may have to do it. Alright. Artillery gained a new prestige. Plus 10 firearms, plus 10 accuracy. Nice. Alright. So that gets everybody back to full strength, I think. Or I guess we do need to give them some replacements for some of their casualties. They lost a few men. They didn't lose any guns. Alright, so now we are back to full strength. $80,000 remain. And 5,200 recruits. We've just got Arnold's brigade and the Texas brigade, both which are equipped with Enfields. Only have 37 Enfields. So if we do that, we've got 2 brigades that are just under full strength. I think we'll probably leave it at that for now. The $88,000 that we have... got the 3 20-pound parrots, which we don't have a battery for because we already just built out. Or actually, maybe we don't. We do have a battery for them. Yes, we do. We can give the 3 guns to this battery. We'll go ahead and use veteran recruits just to keep the level of experience up. And that battery is slowly growing into something that might be more effectual here. 11 guns now. Every other battery is full, though. We go to the armory. We're not quite large enough to have a full battery of anything else. 10-pound parrots. Not quite enough either. So yeah, I think that's good. We'll go ahead and sell these sharps because I'm not going to use them. And maybe we just buy... someone mentioned the other day... Ooh, some Whitworth sniper rifles. So there's 2 types. One's with a scope, one without. Someone did mention that you get like a certain number of Fayetteville weapons and Henrys that like you can't, like they only give you a small number of them. You just kind of have to buy them every battle to kind of, I don't know if you will ever have enough to equip a unit with it. I'm going to do that for now. I don't know how true that is, but I'm going to start buying them anyway. We've got the money. Might as well. Do the same thing with the Richmonds, although those are eventually going to equip a unit. I don't know if you lose them between rounds. So we can always sell some of these too. You know, we could sell all of our Springfields for $73,000. I just don't know what I'd do with it. There aren't any guns out there that I'd be buying if I had the weapons, or if I had the money. I just bought the guns I would buy. Maybe the Colts, or maybe the Whitworths for like a skirmisher unit, but I'm probably not going to equip a skirmisher unit with anything like that. If I needed more Lamats, I would do that. Yeah, I think we're about good there. We could, I think there's a slight upgrade with the Remington over the Colt for our cavalry units, but again, I don't think it's worth it. So there you go. We are ready for the Battle of Fredericksburg, everybody. We've won the minor battle that we just fought, the Battle of Prairie Grove, and now the next major obstacle in the way for absolute Confederate independence is the Battle of Fredericksburg. But with that being said, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. This was the Battle of Prairie Grove, as well as some re-equipping of our forces. We are all set up for the Battle of Fredericksburg. The video you've just seen was taken from a live stream from maybe a week or so ago. But I'm going to go ahead and start the Battle of Fredericksburg in our next video. So if you're interested in seeing that, stay tuned and keep your eyes out. But until then, everybody, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you for watching. And until next time, I'm out.